I'm Amy. Gypsy Rose has been diagnosed with a chromosomal disorder known as microcephaly. This condition can lead to the need for a feeding tube, excessive drooling, hyperactivity, as well as hypersexuality, among other symptoms. Unfortunately, there are no known cure for microcephaly, and it's not a glamorous childhood disease by any means. It certainly wouldn't typically result in a child receiving a free home, countless trips to amusement parks, etc., etc. The surgeries and emergency room visits that Gypsy had experienced while in Dee Dee's care might be attributed to Gypsy's microcephaly. Today, we will delve into the diagnosis with some of my favorite content creators. Toddy from Toddy One Skipped is here, and Katie from Down the Rabbit Hole has hopped by for a few minutes, and we're going to have a roundtable discussion about all of this. Stay tuned. I'm going to roll some credits, and when we come back, we'll have everybody up on stage. Last night, I put my glasses where I put them every single night, and I woke up today and they're missing. I've looked everywhere for them, so I am with a little bit of a sight problem here, but I'm working through it. I did put my contacts in, but they're old contacts. I need new ones. But anyway, I'm just warning you. Just warning you. I want to welcome to ParawomenRadio Toddy One Skip and Katie from Down the Rabbit Hole. Hi, Toddy. Hi, Katie.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Good, good.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
nice
Katie.
to see you.
Hi.
Katie's in a little bit of a delay, so we're just trying to get our feel for this. So we're going to talk about microcephaly today. Sorry, everything's popping up. So we're going to talk about microcephaly, and I thought that it would be great to talk with Toddy One Skip and Katie, Katie is a nurse. So I had questions about microcephaly, and I know some of you did too, and I know Toddy contacted me, and she wanted to talk about it as well. So Katie, can you start us off with telling us what is microcephaly?
Oh, I didn't know I was coming on to talk about this. Well, I mean, one thing
sorry.
is, I know on your, I watched your video about it. No, it's okay. I watched your video about it. And one thing that I wanted to bring up is that my understanding of microcephaly in terms of Gypsy Rose is that it's more a symptom of her chromosome disorder, correct? This is something that comes along with the chromosome issue that she has going on. Kids who are born with microcephaly, for example, when I lived in Mexico for a period of time, one major issue that we had during that period of time was children being born to mothers who were diagnosed with Zika. And the babies would be born with extremely small heads. I know you showed pictures of it in your last video. And it can result in long-term effects for these children. Obviously, there are mental impairments as well as medical issues that they'll have to deal with for the rest of their lives. My understanding is that the way that it's manifested for Gypsy Rose is, according to her family, it doesn't affect her. The chromosome disorder does not affect her. It doesn't have all of the issues that are listed that some other people deal with, so I really want to discuss that because I have a lot of questions about, why it's important. Like, why do you think it's important to know about and talk about the chromosomal disorder that Fancy is claiming Gypsy has? Like, what do you think is important about it?
I think it's important.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it's important, and then I'll let you answer, Toddy. I think it's important because she says it doesn't affect her, but in reading it, it causes excessive drooling. She had to have some of her salivary glands removed. It causes excessive hyperactivity. We know she's pretty active. It causes excessive hypersexuality. It causes just a lot of problems. It would cause the need for it could cause the need for a feeding tube. She had a feeding tube. So I feel like it would explain all of the reasons why she had all of these medical issues and why she was having these, going to the ER and the mother realized, like, oh, she's getting attention, but this isn't a very glamorous disease. So we're going to go with this and we can take her, in and out of the hospital, and people are going to feel sorry for us. And we have a reason, but we're going to say it's another reason. And so I think that's why it's important.
I think that, to me, to be honest with you, I think that anything in that medical report, according to the person, and this is me, I think that Fancy had the report, listen, I'm going by what I heard, but I heard that there's nothing in that report that's actually true, that there's one document with her date of birth 3 times it's wrong. So to me, anything in that report, I can't trust it, because you can pick and choose whatever you can trust. And whatever she had, there's no reason to unalive your mom. So the only thing, no. Right. So yeah, and I that goes without saying. So I think that the only reason why people would want to know, I guess, is, for Dee Dee's reputation, even though she's not here. Did she do this originally because her daughter was actually sick and she thought she had this, and there's her defense, and then it turned into something else? Or was it always just,
okay,
So that's the question.
Yeah, that makes some sense. So can I just ask?
When I see,
let me just ask really quick.
The microcephaly. I just want to say that really quickly too. I can't unsee it. I see it in her now. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, number one, and I know that I'm going to have a difference of opinion here, and probably some of your subscribers won't, be so happy with it. But I do have some thoughts about Gypsy and Dee Dee that are probably different than the mainstream right now. But for me, from my point of view, it's always been obvious that Gypsy probably had a chromosomal disorder, the way that she looks, the way that she looked when she was a child. It was always kind of there, but I just didn't see it as being super important to what was going on. With all this, the issues that were arising. I really hear what you guys are saying, especially when you're it's sort of about why was Dee Dee, the why behind Dee Dee, that is important. I can kind of see that. Thank you for bringing that up. One thing with microcephaly is it can cause a lot of developmental issues. So I could see how maybe when she was a child, Dee Dee or people around her were seeing those developmental issues. For sure, that could be the case. But for me, I sort of feel regardless of whether or not she has this diagnosis, it doesn't change a lot of things for me. So I just find it interesting that Fancy's been very focused on it. Now, I will say, do you know, ParawomenRadio, does she have an official diagnosis of microcephaly, or is this just something that people are talking about?
There is an official, it's a chromosomal disorder, official diagnosis of some form of chromosomal disorder. I don't think it's microcephaly in itself. So, but I'm not a nurse or a doctor.
Because I am curious about. Right. Well, none of us will know for sure because we don't have the records in front of us.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Fancy did have this a pamphlet out that went into the exact chromosomal disorder. Did you see that? I don't remember what it was. I couldn't even tell you, but it was the exact.
I did.
Yeah. So does that answer your question, or I guess not if you saw that, huh?
No, because you could have that disorder and still not have the diagnosis of microcephaly. So that's why I'm curious. I'm just curious if she has the official diagnosis or not, because that would help us understand. But I totally agree with ParawomenRadio that there are a lot of things that happen with microcephaly that we see going on with Gypsy. So I agree with all of that. But from the beginning, I would question, how much does it matter to me when it comes to the story of Gypsy. But you guys really changed my mind when you brought up, it matters about why Dee Dee did what she did. So I get that point for sure.
Yeah, because that changes the whole reputation of her, doesn't it? Doesn't it change her?
Like it does.
Yeah, and she ain't got nobody speaking for her, including her own daughter, obviously. So I mean, if we could kill two birds with one stone, and she doesn't deserve what she got along the way, then I think we should make that right if that's the truth as well.
But even if she did have microcephaly and the chromosomal disorder, wouldn't you still be concerned about the fact that Dee Dee was having her like ride around in a wheelchair, shaving her head and saying she had cancer? Those are things that still, like, when people are like, she wasn't abused, I'm like, oh my God, tell me you're going to raise a child like that. Like, that is abusive in my mind. Just that's where I'm coming from with it.
It is. It's a scam, but it's a scam. And yeah, I agree. That's a form of abuse when you don't teach a child the difference between right or wrong. But we were given a picture where she was abused by the word abused. And that I don't think happened, So, listen, I think everybody should be able to determine what's right or what's wrong with them, but they should have the truth in doing that. You understand? So, I would just like to know the truth so that I can say, hey, you know what? I can kind of understand what she did. I don't understand what she did because I don't see where she suffered anything except right now we're talking about morals and values. And, I just don't see, again, we don't agree. We're all going to agree that what happened to her mom shouldn't have happened to her mom. But there's a degree of abuse, too. We all come from some sort of crap,
Yeah. Yeah. Outlandish History in your chat says it's a crime family in essence. And I would agree with that. I actually think that that's very much a part of Gypsy's history, is that this entire family is dedicated to manipulation and potentially scamming. So, I mean, that's definitely a part of Gypsy's history. I'm sorry to go off the microcephaly topic. I am interested in it. I love the video you did about it. And I do think some of the issues that she's experienced could, be related to microcephaly. I sort of have this feeling of like, I always sort of thought there was something wrong with her. I always knew that there was like something a little bit off. And we've seen like the thing with her eyes that she has going on. And, I understand all of that. I just don't know that it fully changes how I perceive Gypsy. Now, Gypsy's current behavior has changed a lot about what I think about her.
That's how I feel. I felt like I was really happy for Gypsy, and I felt like she had done her time and she had went through so much. But I don't believe the physical abuse anymore. I do believe that she was the sexual abuse and the psychological abuse and all of that abuse happened, and it was horrible. But at what point do we have to hold the person that was being abused responsible for their actions? Because when they become an adult, you have to start holding them responsible.
The only abuse I'm going to jump on this bandwagon with is the abuse of losing her difference between right or wrong, which doesn't account to unaliving her mom. I don't think she came. I just personally don't think that she had to be in a wheelchair outside of her home. Like I don't think I think it was more of a show than actual abuse. Now at the very beginning, I can't speak for that, and it's too bad because the person that can speak for that, the only one, doesn't tell the truth. So it's even hard to jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, I see that path, because, unfortunately with her, I don't see that path. I don't have any, there's nothing credible to me, unfortunately, about her. And that's really sad.
Sorry, did that change? Going.
Okay, that's okay. Did that change for you, Toddy? Did you always feel that way, or did something change that for you?
She changed it. she changed it for me. When I first heard about the story, I was like, oh my God, like who, shame, like I felt so bad for her. And then I saw the act, and I didn't know any better. And I remember thinking like, oh, like I remember that story. And then she started talking, and that's what ruined it for me. That's her own story that kept changing. And that's when I said, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, because I have in my, my job history, I catch on to things, but I wasn't the only one, because when I said, I can't be the only one seeing this, that's when I started finding everybody online that was seeing the same thing. Like she was telling 3 sides to one story, which, once there's like these giant holes in your story, I just can't buy into it anymore. Then I just felt stupid for believing anything she said. So she did that.
I agree.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've heard that from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm, me too. Yeah. And I don't think like we're on a bandwagon. I just think we're having like a really good conversation.
Yeah, I didn't mean a bandwagon like a witch hunt. I didn't mean that. Though I got to tell you, after the Nina stuff today, which we talked about for a brief second, yeah, I mean, like I would like to cancel her. I would like to cancel her because I would like to see the true victim and survivor of Munchausen take their story back, because they lived it.
Well, let's get into some of that stuff, because I have it queued up. So let's start talking about Nina. And I have this one ready to go. Let me bring it up. And this is Nina talking about the cops spill hot tea about Gypsy Rose.
I just want to say real quick, one of your subscribers says, Outlandish History says, we all wanted to give Gypsy a chance. We were rooting for her, and she showed us who she was. I think that's a really good comment. And I definitely have changed my feelings about her based upon what's happened, especially over the last week or 2 weeks. It's been really hard to watch, although I still have a firm belief about the abuse occurring, and I wanted to see her get a second chance at life. But for sure, the way she's acted outside of prison has been horrendous.
I agree. I think that she was severely abused, but now it's the way she's acting is just, it's just gotten progressively worse and worse. Like, and I'm done fearing for her, but I just think that she's going to go back to prison. That's the road she's on, in my opinion.
Is also obsessed with another TikTok.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, this is Becca Scoops. Did you see Becca Scoops came out with a part 2?
I haven't had a chance to see the part 2, but the part 1 was amazing. Like I had that all over my channel. I totally recommend. She was precise, to the point, non-emotional. Right. Yeah, I'm excited about seeing part 2. I haven't seen it yet.
Have you seen Becca Scoops, Katie?
I've seen parts of the first one, but I haven't finished it yet. Yes, I'm very excited about that channel. I wasn't aware of it until, I guess, last week or something, and it looks like a great channel.
She just popped up out of nowhere. And this is the part 2, and she has it queued up about how Gypsy's become hyper-focused with Nina, the beauty influencer.
Flawless Nina. The entire saga of their crazed interaction was too much for us to follow. However, the point here is, again, Gypsy abandons all common sense and inserts herself into this creator's life and videos, blocking her and then unblocking her like a bad teen romance. Gypsy also actively took part in attacking Nina in a chat room during a live stream. We were shocked to find her stepmom, Christy Blanchard, also partaking in trashing the African-American content creator. Christy Blanchard attacked Nina relentlessly in the chat room. The many hours of live stream is no longer available, which was originally posted on a social media account called Says Bree. However, it was captured by YouTuber Hello Starlight. The content was devoted to attacking Nina, who claimed Gypsy had a chromosomal disorder that was diagnosed back in 2011. Neither Gypsy nor Christy denied.
I wanted to add this part of it because of the fact that Gypsy attacked Nina, the influence, what is she?
The beauty influencer.
The beauty influencer. Jeez. Nina, the beauty influencer. She attacked her for coming out with saying she had this chromosomal disorder. And just wondering, why did she attack Nina for it?
Yeah, that's a good
She has
question.
a long history. She has a long history with Nina. Sorry, Toddy. I know I'm like messing everyone up with my crappy internet. But yeah, like she has a very, very long history with Nina. And here it's very important to me to say that so this has been going on for years with Christy Blanchard. Christy has been doing this same BS for over 7 years now with multiple creators. She has done things that are almost allegedly, in my opinion, criminal to people, including Fancy, including several other creators. I made this like really sad web of it's like the toxic web of Christy Blanchard. I brought it up in my recent video. And I believe that Gypsy has joined the web, but I want to point out that I cannot believe that this was happening with Christy 7 years ago. She spent her whole life going into people's chats, forming relationships with them, then breaking the relationship with them, then getting a bunch of other creators to gang up on them. She made fun of people's like lady parts. She created, horrible lies about people. This has been going on for over 7 years. And number one, it's part of the reason why Gypsy has a lot of fame on social media. I think Christy kind of created it for her with all this chaos before she ever came onto the scene. But then number two, it's part of the reason why there's a lot of hate. Now, Gypsy has caused a lot of that hate herself, but Christy has been creating all of this chaos and horrible relationships for years now. And Nina was just like the next phase of that. Because Christy has been attacking creators and, doxing them and putting out all of their information and getting the FBI involved. I mean, this has been insanity for years, and people need to know about that. Sorry, jump off.
No, that's good.
I thought it was really important to note, too, that they seem to go after the smaller content creators. Like when Swoop did her docuseries, they didn't go after Swoop.
I was going to say, she's not a small content creator.
I know, but they go after the small ones and not the large ones, which is like, that needs to be stopped because, I mean...
yeah, that's intimidation. But I welcome her to have the FBI. Please have the FBI on me. I welcome. Listen, I put a video up today, and I'm telling you, it was protest Gypsy Rose, and I thought about, well, who can come at me? Because actually there was another content creator that I actually called out too. And, I'm pretty confident in that I could take care of myself, and who I'm affiliated with, I can. Here's the problem that I have, and I just want to say something real quick. I think that maybe we were asking why they would shut Nina down with this chromosome disorder, because with this chromosome disorder, this actually shows that she needed some of this treatment that she got. So maybe it gives a little bit more credibility to what was going on in Gypsy's life, if you wanted to look at it that way. So why would you shut that down, I guess, was, the question. Or is it, I just think that there's a cancel culture out there, and she needs to be canceled. I'm sorry. If she was abused and it was just about scruples, and she didn't spend enough time in jail to learn that, because, she could have learned that 8.5 years she spent. What was she working on in jail? If it wasn't bettering herself, just what was she working on? And I feel like she's had more than 2 or 3 chances here, and it's getting to the point that you got this is doing real damage to people online. You saw Nina was very upset. I've been very upset about it. But what about the woman that just took her content offline when she was talking for people who actually have Munchausen by proxy? What about, like, when do we as content creators stand together, the smaller ones, and say, yeah, this isn't okay?
I feel like we're doing it right now. I feel like, and somebody asked, Beats asked in the chat, is there an email, and you might know this, Toddy, is there, because didn't you work in the parole prison system? Is there an email address?
Two different systems, though. I've never worked in parole, I worked in the prison, in the jail system, which is different than the prison system. But I mean, I spent enough time with people at tables and stuff like that over the course of the decade and a half. Would
they be able to find an email to write?
There is one online. There is one online. I've seen it. I would look it up. It might even be in my emails where I have the person's name and everything. I'm just going to I'll write myself a note to look that up, but you can look it up online. It's not going to be a secret, to be honest with you.
I'll try to look it up for you guys too.
Yeah, because I'm lacking a pen and piece of paper.
So for those
I'm just going to say, and I totally... Go ahead, Amy.
Well, I was just going to tell them, for those that don't know what we're talking about, Gypsy went after a woman named Adaptive Kate. She's over on TikTok, and she actually has Munchausen by proxy. Her mother had it. Her mother went as far to have her leg cut off for having dry skin. So she is a true survivor, and she's out there trying to spread awareness. And Gypsy has just been going after her and her stepmother. I just feel like when I say Gypsy, like Christy's just included in that, and Ken's in it now too. And they've just been going after somebody who's been trying to spread awareness.
But it's not even that. She took the woman's story, her survival story. She took personal details of the story. Kate Marie, the woman that we're talking about, she ran away. Gypsy took the woman's story. It's not even, that's the thing that pisses me off, is this woman has memories and fought, and somebody did, they just stole the worst thing in the world from you. It's almost like stealing your identity. I'm sure it very much is to this woman, because she didn't just take her symptoms. She took the woman's story.
That is one of the most ridiculous parts of the entire situation. And I also want to put out there, and this has nothing to do with ParawomenRadio. I'm not saying that she supports me or believes what I have to say here, but in February, I took down my channel because of Without a Crystal Ball. And now Without a Crystal Ball is heavily involved in the Gypsy, and all this Gypsy saga. And she is now supporting Gypsy and going into these chats with her and Christy and harassing people. I'm not going to be able to talk about it, but I have some legal stuff going on in the background with this. And I cannot believe that people like this even exist. I guess I've never encountered them in my real life, but to have people spend all day going into these chats and just harassing, gang harassing people. Gypsy's participating, Christy's participating, and once again, it was going on for years before Gypsy got out of prison, and it's sick. It's absolutely sick.
Without a Crystal Ball, first it came out that she was mad. She was mad because Gypsy had met Kim K and I guess hadn't told her, and she put out all this stuff about Gypsy being a sellout and all this stuff, but then she had a 3-hour conversation.
Profiting off the crime. She thought it was wrong for her profiting off the crime. She put all this content up and then erased it because she got a phone call. Listen, she's being used, and she knows it. because we all know when something doesn't feel right. So I mean, Katie Joy, she knows it.
Katie Joy has been doing this for years. She profits off of crime and suicide and death all the time. So I can't, I mean, I shouldn't go into it here, but like this, if anything, Katie Joy is super excited that Gypsy wants to do this. It's like, yay, another person just like me. So it's been hard to watch. And when I saw what happened with Adaptive Kate, I got really angry because here's the problem that I see. Katie Joy is bigger than any other creator that's helped Gypsy so far. She's never had such a large creator like go into chats with her and start trying to take people down. And when Adaptive Kate said why she was going to get rid of her channel, she said, I can't go up against Katie Joy. And that is harassment, bullying, manipulation to a real victim. And Katie Joy has done this before, and it's wrong.
Yeah, I'm on that bandwagon. That's the bandwagon I'm on. I'm on that one.
Katie Joy does scare me. I'm not gonna lie. She does scare people who have the ability to do that type of thing to people. They do scare me. They do.
You should be scared. And I one day I will tell all the stories, but you should be scared. And so should Adaptive Kate. And I hope that we can all surround Adaptive Kate and like protect her. But, you know, I think she's smart to be worried about.
Here we have up here, Nina is coming out talking about how Gypsy Rose is not a good person.
This post is not going to be your typical funny post. Kate and I were on live probably for about an hour and a half. Kate shared her story and her sister's story on, you know, being victims of, you know, her mom having Munchausen by proxy. During that live, apparently Katie Joy, Gypsy, and Christy were on this live, or one of them, or all. And the exact same story that Kate told. Katie went on her page and regurgitated it verbatim. And
this is my question about this. What does she mean? Katie Joy went back to her page and repeated it. What does that mean? Like, did she tell Kate's story for her? I don't understand that. Why did she go to her page?
Well, regurgitating, you know what it means, so...
Yeah, but why? Why did she do that? What, did she spin it in a bad way with Kate? Or, like, why did she go back to her page and talk about Kate's story?
I think she was just trying to discredit her. I didn't see any of that. This is what I saw. I saw this video here.
I didn't see it either, so I guess I didn't know what Katie Joy had said.
Kate made a post.
So I'm not
kind of speaking about it, but it was very.
Go ahead. I gotta open the door and let the bird in. So go ahead, Katie. Sorry.
All I was gonna say is I'm not sure exactly what she said either, because she posted it and then deleted it very quickly,
okay.
And that's something that she does a lot. But I assume it just has to do. Yeah, I assume it just has to do with trying to bring Kate down, because they want to bring down anyone who has ever come up against Gypsy. And it's just so sad. It's absolute, but I've seen it before. And I, you know, for those of you who aren't aware, if you aren't aware, go check out the Good Wives Network. I am not a fan of Fancy Maselli, and yet I tell everyone, go watch the Good Wives Network. Check it out. See what happened to her. I mean, she was relentlessly bullied and harassed. And I believe she's someone, and she's come forward and said, like, I have some mental health issues. And what they did to that woman was insane. And they're doing it again, and they're going to do it again. Their whole mentality is one of, like, destroying people. And I up until February, you guys know that, not probably this group of people doesn't know, I lived abroad I was working as a nurse, and I was not even that worried about YouTube. And I never thought anything would come of being on YouTube. And then in February, I really had people come after me and try to destroy my livelihood. And so now I know, like, people will do this shit to people. And I do hope that as creators, we can protect Adaptive Kate, because she, more than anyone, doesn't deserve it. And it's horrendous to watch Gypsy fall in line with what Christy has been doing.
And at what point are we going to say, like, enough is enough and stop her from what? How many more people are they going to
That's
down?
And did you guys see? Are you guys aware of Ryan Lee, who has a channel and also a big TikTok presence? And I happen to like Ryan, but I watched Ryan, someone who I thought was fine, totally change their whole mentality and totally in my opinion, fall at the knees of Christy Blanchard for a period of time because she formed a relationship with Christy. And that's what keeps happening. People get it in their heads. Trust me, Christy came to me. People come to you and they want to just get in your ear a little bit. And you think to yourself, like, maybe this could be good for my channel. Well, that is why this is happening. Stop bowing to these people because you want an interview with them or you want some information from them. Like, it's so sad to watch. It's really hard. And that's why people like Katie Joy, just people like her, they get ahead because they're willing to do this manipulative shit. Whereas someone like Ryan eventually figured out what was going on with Christy and left her behind, you know? But that's how this continues to grow, is people keep like bowing down to these assholes. That's my opinion anyway.
I feel like Nina did it too, though, for a minute.
I think Nina was talking to, I think Gypsy, listen, I'm going to give Nina the benefit of the doubt because she said that she took the talk with Gypsy because she thought that Gypsy was looking for a second chance and she wanted to give her that. As soon as she realized that that wasn't the case, she backed out. I wouldn't, you know, to me, I couldn't ask her anything because I couldn't believe anything she said. So, I mean, I'm like that, you know, personally too. If I don't believe you, then you're wasting my time. I can't talk to you. But here's the thing that I want to say is that not only do we need to rally, you know, and support Kate Marie, you know, the real victim of Munchausen by proxy, and let her get her story back, her memories, what she lived through, their survival. She was a victim and she survived it, and she deserves that. Nobody should take her story from her or make her afraid to speak. Like, who does that? And if you really had Munchausen by proxy, you would join with somebody. And I'd like to believe that the people out here, that there's more good than there's more bad, and that there's more smart than there's more stupid. And I think that the smaller content creators, because we've come up now and we've seen everything more or less after the fact, so therefore we have that 2020 vision that maybe the older content creators with more subscribers didn't have that, and they already formed an opinion. I certainly, you know, formed my opinion after I had more of a better picture of what's going on. So not only do we need to stand up for people that actually had the problem and the survival of it, but as smaller content creators, we need to stand up for each other. And that's certainly what I think we're doing by talking about Nina and standing up. Like, I'm standing up for her. She's trying to do the right thing. You know, she's a fellow content creator. I'm going to stand up for her. I think she's right. If this isn't my voice, I'm going to use it. And it's not about money for me. It's clearly not about money. Like you said, you know, down the rabbit hole, you know, you have another income. I have another income. You know, this is about like making things as right as possible. And that's it. You know, that's it.
Thank you, Grace Jones, for the $5. And she asks us, Becca says Gyp will reoffend. Do any of you agree?
Yeah, no, be something really stupid.
You think she's going to do something stupid?
I think she'll do something that's really stupid that she shouldn't do, and that's what'll happen. Like, she'll break some stupid rule because she thinks she's better than that.
I think for a period of time, she's going to have people around her adoring her and helping her and giving her money. And for a period of time, she'll be okay. And then what she really, I hope she, someday hears this, and Christy hears it too. 5 years down the road, nobody's going to be knocking at their door anymore, offering them all this money, offering whatever. And that's the time in which I think, shit's going to hit the fan, basically. Like, something will happen because she has no skills. She has no career. She has no, friends and community that surrounds her that's positive. So, of course, like, something will happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take quite 5 years. I think maybe like 2 or 3 years down the road. But yeah, I think that she's going to come to an end, and then she's going to start getting really desperate and doing things. How long is she on probation for? Does anyone know?
I don't know. I can look it up.
Is it like 2.5 years because she got out 2.5 years early? Probably doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. I'll look it up.
Tax evasion.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I have to go, guys. Okay, I have to head out. So sorry, guys, but this was wonderful, and I hope to join another time, maybe when I have better internet. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye, Katie. And I have Katie and Patty's. I programmed it in the Nightbot. I don't know if you've seen it come through, but I did program the link to their channel. So if you want to go visit, has it come through, Heavenly? Yeah, I think I programmed it to come through like in 30 minutes. But anyway, if we don't, it will for sure be down in the description, and you can go visit Toddy and Katie from Down the Rabbit Hole. So Toddy,
yep.
Do you think that when Nina is so upset and she cries, do you find it to be real? Do you think the emotion is real?
Do I think like when she cries like that? I think that it's frustration, and that's how it comes out of her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think it definitely hurts her soul. And I think that out of frustration, some people yell and scream. She ain't yelling and screaming. It's got to come out. And I think that that's the way it comes out of her. Do you doubt her sincerity?
No, I think that it's real. I think some people are able to cry and just be that way, but I think that she feels those things really deeply, and I think that's how I kind of trust her, because like it is a horrible thing that she's done to Kate. It's just a horrible thing. I can't even believe she did it. I'm surprised she wants us to know how horrible she is.
I can't. It's so brazen. Like, why can't the average person, and I know that the average person can figure out, like, listen, man, it's just like that thing that I said. If you're walking down some stairs.
Oh, shoot. I removed you accidentally. Sorry. Go ahead. If you're walking down some stairs.
If you're walking down some stairs and there's a loose step that you almost tripped on, you're going to look behind you and you're going to tell people, hey, man, be careful because this, step is loose, right? If you have some sort of illness, like even cancer, like you're going to help other cancer patients. You're going to help them. So why would you shut somebody down that supposedly suffered the same thing as you? Why wouldn't you boost them up, especially when you said to everybody, I want to be a voice? Well, you can't be the only voice. Like,
you shut your mic off.
I didn't touch my mic. Is it not there?
I don't know. Your mic isn't working. Let me
Okay.
I heard a pop, so I don't know.
I don't hear it.
There it is. It's back.
Okay. I just don't, I forgot where I was at on that. Sorry. What was
Well,
I
you
saying?
just said, you said like you would tell somebody behind you, and
Yeah,
you didn't understand why she would want to tear down somebody who she's supposed to be a Munchausen by proxy survivor too. Why would you tear down a sister survivor?
You wouldn't. I mean,
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Why? There's no reason to do that except to shut somebody up. And why would the reason be? Because you want what? I don't think if you sat down with Gypsy that she could even tell you anything about Munchausen by proxy, except for, probably not even as much stuff as I know, because I've actually looked it up a little bit more. I think that it was an alibi. It's an alibi. It was an alibi.
Well, his friend said she didn't even know what it was until they asked her in the police station. So
they gave her so much. They gave her an out so many times she just didn't catch it. When they said to her, "So you were threatened, you were afraid," like they made it seem there's a part where they said either you were threatened or you were afraid of Nick. They meant Nick. Like Nick had talked her into this, not the other way around, and she didn't catch that. She could have jumped on that and said, "Yes, he tried," and we would have seen something totally that she wouldn't have had to spend any time in prison.
Right.
What I'm saying? So.
Let's go over to chat and see what the chat's saying.
Okay, I can't get there, but you can. I'm still where we
are. Hugh Mad says she doesn't speak for the masses. Indeed. M says she's absolutely wants to see how manipulative and devious she is. She's proud of it. Oh, she wants us. You think she wants us to see it?
Very brazen. And look at what she's gotten away with.
Yeah, I don't understand how she gets away with it. Oh, you guys all heard her? I couldn't hear her for some reason. Gypsy doesn't care how she comes off because she has no scruples. That's a good point.
Boston chick. How you doing?
Boston says, SP, many celebs get tax evasion charges because they're too wrapped up in their star to care. I think that might be something that she gets in trouble for too. I know that Ryan's mom set up some trusts for them, but I mean, how many trusts can you set up?
She's going to do something stupid that's going to re-offend her. Just like, that threat that she made, was it to Fancy? It was to somebody where she kind of dared them. Actually, there were two threats. One, I think while she was in prison, right? She threatened Fancy on the phone, according to Fancy. And then the one where she did online where she said, why don't you should say that to my face or something. It's going to be something stupid because she can't stop herself. She's
like, I live in North Port Charles. Come see me or something like that. Lady Lulu, and I'm sorry, you guys, I don't have my glasses. Lady Lulu says, do you think people will change their minds if Nick talks more? That's another thing that came out recently. Them all talking about Nicky Poo. Did you see that?
No, as far as
Nicky Poo. Junie. They called him Nicky Poo, and apparently Ken's in on it now. Ken called him Nicky Poo. And about they were recording him and sending some of the stuff to his the district attorney or something. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I know he's trying to get his appeal.
And they're trying to stop it.
Of course they are.
There's all these texts that came up this morning regarding Ken, and Ken was having a conversation with, I don't remember. It's over on, let me pop over on Nina's page real quick.
Again, like, why would you do that? Because here's the thing. If he doesn't get the appeal, what's going to stop him from doing a prison interview about what happened, what actually happened? Like, why would you do that? He's only keeping his mouth quiet because he's trying to get the appeal and doesn't want to say anything in case he gets it and then goes, and has his trial. So, like, that's what I mean by stupidity. Why would you do that?
Maybe this is what's going to expose her, because she just can't stop herself.
That's really exactly correct. I agree with that.
And Christy can't either.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Christy except that, I certainly wouldn't trust her because her reputation, unfortunately, speaks for herself. And it can't be everybody and not her. You know what I mean? Like, the math is there. It's got to be that she is the shit stirrer.
Here it is. Hold on. Let me put it up on the stage. Okay, so Gypsy, Rose, Ken, Urker, Raina, and Krusty, which she calls Christy Krusty.
Yeah.
He is hot. I'm going to need you to come in, take a seat, and let's talk. Because this right here is going to blow your wig cap right back. So as we spoke before, we knew Ken wasn't all that he was cracked up to be, right? I was teetering on the fence, and some of you all kept saying, Ken isn't who you think he is. He is around for money, right? Well, I have not confirmed that he was around for money, but I have confirmed that he is a villain. Let's talk about it. So I need you guys to pause and read this. He's speaking all about Nicholas Godejohn, and he says, well,
okay, so it says, yeah, she feels terrible about how she said things about Gypsy. I've seen a lot of things in my day, Ken, nothing that has ever truly freaked me out. But reading those emails, oh my God, I've never seen anything like it. And now there's these F-tards running around trying to create some freedom movement. Holy crap, they are morons. And then Ken says, LOL, if all these losers who stand by old poor Nikki Poo could see them. And then it says, have you seen the trailer, as they call it, for these Nick freedom fighters?
If only all these losers who stand by poor old Nikki Poo could see them. When I tell you, Ken is just as scandalous as Chip Chip is. If this don't show you, I don't know what will. But hang on, I got another screenshot for y'all. Look at this. When I tell you all they keep trying to do is stop Nick from getting his appeal.
So here it says, Gypsy says, no, you have no idea. Nobody knows what we know. She's been having our psych team help her write him. He's threatened her life several times. It's gross. So Gypsy's writing him, getting him to do these things so that they can send these things over to the prosecutor or whoever.
Oh, she's trying to set him up. Well, here's what I do know. If she's on parole, she's not allowed to write to him. She's not allowed to write to him.
Having the psych team write, I think, to him. I don't think she's doing it.
Doing it directly?
Yeah, I think she's having.
Yeah, she shouldn't be having anything to do with anything like that. Any admission. I mean, again, it's her stupidity that's going to get her in trouble.
Yes, it's really stupid, and I can't believe that. I really can't believe. It's like, I feel like it's picking up steam, don't you? Like this weekend or something, it's like picked up steam. And it's like, if it keeps picking up steam like this, it's just going to get, like, the tea's going to get hotter and hotter, and she's going to do something. She's going to do something.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Nick. Here, again, if he doesn't get his appeal, and it's because of shit like this.
Oh,
imagine what he's gonna say. Like, I mean, come on. And I think here's the thing: we believe Nick. We believe him because he's always told the truth. So his credibility is going to count more than hers. Even people that don't even like him know that he's told the truth. He's got that going for him. So, you know, when he talks, it's going to be very powerful because he's going to be believed. Right away, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt, which is a lot more than she gets right now. So, but my thing is, why would you want him to talk sooner? Fucking shut up, take your life, be quiet with your life, spend a good year or so trying to fix your life. And this way, when this guy finally does talk, you could say, well, for the last year, I really have tried. And nobody would be able to say that she didn't. You know what I'm saying? But again, she will not get out of her own way.
I have to correct, Starlight corrected, those messages were between Fancy and Ken. So whoever, this was back in the day when Fancy was still working on the case. So I'm wrong.
That's okay. We all are wrong.
But they did come out recently, and Nina dropped them. And regardless, it does prove that Ken isn't such a nice guy either.
Well, here's the thing. They still are butting into Fancy's lives and stuff. You know, they're still jumping in on that because I watched something it wasn't that long ago, 2 weeks ago or something, when I guess it was Gypsy that came in and called her obsessed, you know. Mm-hmm. But they know what buttons to push with Fancy, and that's the sad bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I've got like animals that need me. It's starting to get hectic over here.
Okay.
So is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No. I think we just need to like look out for each other and pay attention to the voices that are being squelched. You know?
I think it's really important for the content creators to take care of one another, especially larger content creators need to help the smaller content creators. They really do. When I become a larger one, I wholeheartedly plan on helping others, and the smaller content creators need to band together to protect one another. So
I agree.
Yes. Hugh Mad Bros says keep your circles tight, ladies. And you know, I would have been able to come over and to chat more, you guys, but I really can't see hardly anything you guys are saying. It's just like moving. Amy, Patty, and Katie, thank you very much. You're welcome, guys. I love and respect your work. That's very nice. And I will put Patty and Katie's link down in the description. It came through in chat, so in the bot. So if you want to go over, and I highly recommend going over to their channels and visiting, you can do that. And Toddy, thank you so much for taking your time out on Sunday.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the long weekend, everybody that served for our country and respects our country. God bless you all.
Yeah, and happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Bye,
all right, take care. Okay.